750.
Final hour overdrive continues, powered by FanDuel, bringing you everything from the opening line of the final score. Dave Feschuk of the Toronto Star in here, Brian Hayes, Jamie Noodles McLennan. Happy Canada Day to everyone out there. And Free Agent Frenzy, it's always a fun day. There's always stuff to get into. There's always stuff going on. Right. But I would say the biggest surprise of the day for me was Brock Besser back to Vancouver.
Yeah.
Like, I just assumed he was done and gone. And then he signs a 7-year deal in return.
You don't want an 8th year? If you decide you're going to go and stay in that city, you don't. Like, you got, what, 7.25, I think it was?
Something like that, 7.75 or.
You could put another 7.75 in your pocket with the 8th year. Like, I don't think that was probably the stumbling block. It's like, hey, let's see what's out here. But weren't they trying to trade him last year?
Yeah, so the deadline, they were very clear about that.
I understand it, and, Brad Treliving may have shined a light on it where he said, with the more money, guys wanted to, keep their players. Connor Garland was another guy that had asked for a trade and was on 6 years at 6. Hey, we're going to stay. Now, this team looks a lot more like the team that was really good 2 years ago, if they're healthy.
If Demko's healthy,
if Demko's
who also got an extension.
Who got an extension. They're bringing the band back together outside of JT Miller. You added Louis DeBrusk's son, Jake.
Jake DeBrusk, who had a good second half last year.
Very good. He's a very good player. But it's a good team on paper. But again, what are you going to get from Pettersson, who had a big drop last year?
And now his no move is kicked in.
Yeah.
That's
right?
the biggest if. That's capital I, capital F. Like, if Elias Pettersson is the player you're paying $11.6 million to.
And if you can get Thatcher Demko healthy. Now, they have Kevin Lankinen. The one thing that was pointed out to me, Demko got an $8.5 million extension. It kicks in next year.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll have $13 million in goaltending a year from now. So you kick the can down the road.
Although Shelots, though, needs
waivers.
Yeah, so they're probably going to trade him.
They're going to trade him. But you look at it.
Pettersson, though, man, like the no movement. That's like they made a commitment today.
Yeah.
Like Vancouver basically said, sink or swim. Like, we're with this guy now.
Yep.
Like Pettersson, you got to show up, man. You got to play. And I think that's why Besser makes sense. I guess he's a good player, could score. You got Evander Kane in there. Like, you got to give Pettersson a chance to pop at $11.6 million. But I think what has been proven here, and like you mentioned, Treliving said it, and the Leafs, I guess, they went forth with it as well in terms of their approach to John Tavares, is that the nature of the league is very conservative.
Right.
Players don't always want to change. They kind of like where they are, and they're comfortable, and they know everyone, and they like the trainers, and their families are set up, and the teams don't really either. Like, Florida, I can make sense of. Florida, of course. You tried to keep all your guys. You found a way to do it. At some point, you run into cap hell, but whatever. You're in the midst of a dynasty right now.
Yeah, go ahead.
But, the Leafs are like, we got to find a way to keep Tavares. They did that. Very good deal. Very good contract. But still, they were afraid of life after John Tavares, especially if you compound that with Marner leaving.
Well, and Vancouver, they would have kept Marner.
Yes, and I think it seems that way. I mean, Brad said it. Like, last summer, we were trying to engage.
Right.
Like, there's a chance Marner's, like, $13 million a year contract kicks in today.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, if they signed him last summer, that very well could have been the case if the Leafs had their way. Vancouver's like, we don't want it. We'll keep Besser. We're going to keep Garland. Winnipeg's trying to keep Ehlers. Like, all these teams are like, how Provorov and Columbus are like, I want to spend my money on my current players.
One team that's not? Vegas. Vegas is not shy to go big game hunting and take big swings. Like Jonathan Marchessault, we couldn't make it work. Away you go. We'll bring in Hurdle. You heard that Hurdle was being dangled.
Right.
All of that type of stuff. Like, you mentioned it. Alex Pietrangelo will be a huge blow to their back end. But, they've had massive turnover. And not just players. It's been coaches. It's been, you name it. They are a business. And that's how they work. That's how they conduct their business. Other organizations, it's just, you're right, fall in love with the player. Hey, let's make this work.
Afraid
let's keep
to live
you here.
without the players.
So I don't know. What's the winning formula?
I mean, Vegas is one. Florida did that to an extent. This is a little bit more extreme, but you're talking about very, very good players who have proven they can win. Now, I would say Edmonton, maybe out of necessity because of their cap constraints, but they traded Kane for nothing. They got rid of Arvidsson for nothing, like basically cap space. They lost Corey Perry. They lost Connor Brown. I think they maybe were trying to keep both guys, but we're just not comfortable with getting to that number.
Yeah.
And, I guess from their standpoint, like that's a team that's been to a cup final 2 years in a row, and they're like, all right, you're out.
We got to get better.
We're going to change things out.
And you could see them identifying, a couple things. I think they need, a lot like the Leafs, a top six forward. I think they identify we need somebody to play with Leon Draisaitl, like develop that chemistry. And I think their goaltending, when your manager comes out and says, we're looking at it, there's only two guys in that position.
Yeah, exactly.
You're looking at it. But if it's not there, I still believe it's going to be there. But it might be 20 games into the season. It might be by Christmas. They might change out their coaching staff. Glenn Gulutzon, and not Chris Knobloch, he's done a great job, but Glenn Gulutzon now in Dallas. Paul Coffey, what does he want to do? All their contracts are up. I think their goaltending coach, they're looking at that. I think there's going to be change there. But it's not happening on July 1st, like everything. And they do have to be proactive. They signed this David Tomasek. He's a European player. He's been really good. He's 29. He's never played an NHL game. They want to give him a look. They've got this Noah Felt. They've got this Matt Savoy, who's 21, who's really good in the minors. We haven't brought up Easton Cowan's name once.
Well, that's going to be an interesting element to this. Like, is Cowan a guy that is he ready to play?
I wanted to ask Tree, but I wasn't. We just ran out of time.
Yeah, it is a very important point.
It's a conversation,
I think, to bring up. Like, could he be someone that steps in? And I don't know if he's ready for the top six, but can he crack the lineup and then start from there?
Push, yeah.
Here's Mike Johnson, our TSN hockey analyst. Where do you stand on that idea that Cowan is either a guy they might flip to get that top six help, or a guy that they might rely on to actually play and perform for them next year?
I think if they had their preference, it would be that he plays and performs. Entry-level deal, younger body, all the reasons we know. And it's amazing that in Toronto, like any other player who goes and wins a Memorial Cup and playoff MVPs and Memorial Cup MVPs, and he'd be like, of course he's playing in the top six. Why wouldn't he play in the top six? But with Toronto, there probably are understandable question marks with Cowan if he can do that. But yeah, I mean, if somehow you could put him on the second line and it worked, that'd be really good. Like that would be a perfect person to slot in there at an affordable number. So I mean and maybe that's what they want to see. Like maybe they will give him a chance. Although there is always, you run the risk, you let him try. If it doesn't work, then can you trade him for quite as much? I'm not so sure, but. This is not the trade deadline. There's no fit